What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking and doing a 50-hour-ish, it's about 50-hour review on the Boss Snowrator Scout. When I was looking into these machines, there's not a lot of content out there, so I'm going to try and put some decent content out here and talk about this machine, give an overview, my thoughts and opinions, etc. So I'm going to flip this camera around and we'll start doing a kind of a general walkover. And then I'll talk about some of the things that we like about it, some things we don't like about it, what it's good at, what it's not so great at. And then just some general, again, my company, my business's general experience. Full disclaimer, I am not the one who runs this through the snow shift. I have ran this thing many, many times, but I'm not the main operator of this machine. So keep that in mind. But anyways, I'm going to flip this camera around and get started on it. All right, boys and girls, here she is in all of her glory. The Boss Snowrator Scout. Now, first of all, I will prove to you we're at 49.7 hours, so just about 50 hours. This cone not included when you purchase the unit. But anyways, here she is in all her glory. This machine cost us around $10,000. Is right around what it costs for us. If you're unfamiliar with the unit, it does have this 4-foot straight blade on there. Obviously it does articulate. This is as high as she goes, as high as the lift goes. But it goes left and right. It obviously it raises and lowers. You have float, and then you also have downforce on this machine. You have a Kohler engine. I don't know how many. I don't know the specs of the engine, but I'm sure you can look them up on Boss's website. It does have electric start with the key start. It's got a parking brake, things like that. One of the things I do like about this machine is that this operator platform actually, well, number one, it does fold up. There's a pin there you can see at the bottom there, that little black knob. But this does fold up if you need to conserve space on your trailer, or for some reason maybe you need to conserve space in your garage, for example. But that does fold up, so there's no operator presence, which, there's no PTO, so there's basically nothing that could really hurt someone too bad. This machine does have 4-wheel drive, so all 4 of those tires do drive. One thing I will say about the controls specifically is that if you are on dry pavement, they are a little bit clunky, and they don't like, it's not like driving a mower. If you put a mower on dry pavement, with the rear wheel drive and the front caster wheels, it doesn't matter. It's just fine. But this bad boy, it's a little bit grindy. It's not real happy to be on. If you aren't into the snow, you're fine. What else will I say? I personally, just kind of some things that I've noted in using it with the machine again itself. Minor problems, minor good things. So first of all, lost the key. But anyways, I've had no problems getting this electric start to work in the cold. So long as you choke it, pull that up, choke it, she starts right up, no problems. I will say one small issue we have had is this choke knob will actually get stuck and it'll freeze. I'm guessing snow or water gets in there and it won't pull up. I just washed this and it's been warm, so it's good right now. If that does happen to you though, you are very easily able to reach over, pull the choke. That's not the choke. No, this is the choke. Pull the choke here at the top. You can see that lever going up and down. So when this is stuck down, this will actually spring back. But if you just reach over, pull it that way, turn the key, it'll start, and you just release it, put it back in normal position, and she runs just fine. But for the record, I have not charged this battery at all season. So it's not like I'm putting that on the trickle charger or anything. It just does start and run really nice. These hand controls, I'll show you this. I'm gonna start this bad boy up, see if she'll start without choke. No. Maybe with a little more gas, you would have started without choke. But one thing I'll say too, this parking brake lever down here can be a little bit finicky. Sometimes it just gets stuck and doesn't actually disengage all the way. But one thing you'll notice, I'll show this to you right now. If you put this back, you will see she's currently crawling back. So sometimes these handlebars do get a little bit stuck in a position, and you can see she's now crawling forward. So you just kind of have to keep them where you want them. Show you guys this blade articulation here while I've got her on. She goes all the way that way. I'll see all the way that way. Go back to straight. Pop her into float. She's slow to go down, but she will obviously just go down in float. And then that just does have, like, that just sticks in there. Pop her up, I'll bring her up, and then if you go push it down, you'll see those front tires are now off the ground with that downforce. And that's where she really scrapes and gets rolled down nice and down to the pavement. And she doesn't start without the parking brake on, so just be aware of that. But anyways, so that's a great little overview. I'm kind of going to get in now to, I think, the use cases and how, you know, what using the machine is actually like and stuff. All right, so I'm now currently sitting on the blade here, but I just want to go over some basic stuff, what we use, what we're using it for, and how well it does in that application. So first of all, if you're looking at one of these machines, the main thing that they're used for usually is commercial sidewalks or places where you have lots and lots of sidewalk. Again, mostly going to be commercial snow removal. We only do a dabble of commercial. We are basically 95% residential snow removal. Even our commercials are all housing. They're either like student housing for a college, or they're like townhouses basically. So we don't have anything that's like a store. But in that, most of the time what you're using this for is you're going to be plowing the sidewalk where there's no grass on one, like you have parking lot here, and then you come up and you got sidewalk, and then you got your building. I hope that rough hand gesture made sense. But my point is that more or less, a lot of times this is used for, at least my understanding, kind of what it's built for, is to push snow into the parking lot where your plow truck can then take and push it. And what we're mostly using it for is clearing corner sidewalks for residential accounts. So we're clearing sidewalks that are about 4 to 5 feet wide, with yard on one side, sidewalk, and then a grass boulevard on the other side before we get to the curb in the street. So what that means is that you're not just pushing it off into the parking lot. You are basically having to build up a bank along either edge of the sidewalk, and that can be tricky. The problem that you have is that obviously the blade, if you're going up against, if you're pushing, let's say you got a fence and you're pushing, obviously you're gonna push the snow away from the fence. If you go, you might go down and come back the other direction with the blade angled, keep pushing it over. Eventually you're basically gonna build a wall, and then you're gonna have nowhere to push the snow. You're not gonna be able to push the snow over onto the grass. And so what you kind of have to do is put the blade halfway in the grass, lift it up so you're not tearing up the grass, and push your bank back. So it's been a little bit of trial and error. Right now here in Minnesota Metro, we've gotten about 2 feet of snow this year. I think that we have pushed banks back like that once or twice. But probably it's going to be a continuous thing throughout the winter, is that when we go, we have to kind of knock banks back so we have room to put future snow. So kind of with that kind of information in mind, again, my reason for kind of talking about this is that we are still learning how it works, and that's one of the problems that we've experienced with this machine in the way in which we're using it, is it doesn't always do, like, that can be an issue. Is obviously you have to keep pushing that bank back. So the way we're using it, again, probably not exactly how it's intended, but that's how it's being used for us. Overall, definitely better than snow blowing, if I do say so myself. I think that my guy who runs this machine, my business partner, he runs that machine during snow events. I think he would definitely agree it's better than shoveling or snow blowing corner walks, corner properties. One other thing that we think it's used for, obviously, is going to be your small driveways or driveways at our corner properties, places where the plow truck isn't going, or if you have a really tight driveway. And for that, this thing is a beast. I'll show you guys an example. This is my garage pad, okay? And this, even, I mean, to snow blow, this is not that much work. It's maybe gonna be, 7 or 8 passes just going that way with the snowblower, because that's where we have to put snow here. Can't put it there because of the neighbors, whatever, right? But with this thing, obviously, you can get in there and plow it really quick. When you get into situations, which we have quite a few of these properties, where you actually have bigger drive pads in this. Yeah, this is a small little pad. This ain't very big. But we definitely have places where the driveway is a lot bigger, even some small parking lots, that this thing will plow, and will plow very well. And those are really where it's great for that. It's also really great. We usually, after a bigger storm, the next day, I'm out working for another basically 10 to 12 hours, clearing out, clearing out where the city plows to put put snow, cleaning up like the edges of sidewalks, like the ways where people can get out into the street to cross the street. So clearing out areas like that, sometimes touching up driveways, clearing up the banks at the end of driveways, things like that. I'm going hitting with this machine all day, every day, all day, and you know what I mean. All right, this is what I take. I don't take out my plow truck. All right, on my touch-up day, on my second day, I'm taking the Snowrator, and it does great. I've really not had any problems with it. Obviously, one thing is when you get to heavy snow, you get to lots of snow, it is a little sometimes underpowered for that, because it's just, if you are trying to push a lot of snow forward, you got to get in and attack a bank that the plow truck left. It'll get through it, but it does sometimes need a little extra momentum. It needs a little extra oomph. Obviously, if you're getting like a Snowrator mag, you're gonna have an engine that's twice the size, and I don't know, maybe that will be better. But I will just say, like, in our experience, we have had some times where she's a little iffy, she's a little slow, it takes some time to get through things, but in general, it's still a beast of a machine. Trying to think of what else I really have to say about it other than that. We haven't ran any of they do make for this blade a box blade kit, as well as 6-inch extensions, so you can get up to basically a 5-foot blade with a slight scoop, almost like a Western whiteout plow. You've not ran any of that equipment on there. We run our bone stock. We did have the all guides, rookie rods, little things on the side there like that, but they got taken off because I guess they're not helpful. I don't know. For me, they're not. I mean, it doesn't really matter for me. Another thing I'll point out on this machine before I forget, it does have really good lights. A rear light here, which obviously you're blinding the camera, but it's really nice to have that when you're working at night, backing up to a garage door to push snow out or something. That's really nice to have. And then you can kind of tell. But obviously you have these two lights here, which do a great job, and they are adjustable, illuminating your sidewalk and your work area. But anyways, guys, overall, I definitely am a fan of the Boss Snowrator Scout. It is the base model entry, the entry model. It's the base model of the Snowrators, of the snow machines, sidewalk machines that you can get from Boss, and I definitely think that it is a good machine. If you have a lot of sidewalk that you got to put salt down on, you might want to consider the normal Snowrator, not the Scout, just because you have that ability to put the drop spreader on there. We did not opt for that just because we just decided, it's another $4,000 just for the base model machine, because it does include all the brine stuff. That's for the normal Snowrator, and then it'd be another $3,000 or $4,000 for the drop shredder. I was like, do I want to spend $8,000 for putting down salt? We never put down brine, so do I want to spend that kind of money? I said no. So that's what we got this. The one thing I will say, the one drawback of the Scout, which is again part of how it's able to be $4,000 cheaper than normal Snowrator, is the frame is not stainless steel. The frame is just milled steel, I believe. So it will rust. So you want to be careful when you're using it where salt has been. You definitely will want to wash it on a semi-regular basis. You can kind of see she has a little bit of rust that's starting there. But overall, I would say, like, if you wash her, every few snowstorms, just keep her clean. She should be pretty good. Oh, one other thing I will say, keep forgetting to talk about little things. I believe there's supposed to be heat for your hands on here. It does not. Let me tell you, your hands don't notice any heat unless your hands are all the way forward and sticking out over the edge. The heat comes up from here and it kind of goes up like this. So I will say, I don't know if they make that claim that there is engine heat directed at your hands, but if they do make that claim, I'm sorry, that's dead wrong. There's really no, I struggled to find it, struggled to feel it. So other than that, that's really all I have to say about this machine. Overall, I definitely think, why have I bleeding? I don't know, but overall, I'm definitely happy with this purchase. It's going to continue to be a machine in our snow fleet for many years to come. And overall, I'm happy with it overall. I don't have much, you know, really, I don't really have a lot of negatives to say. Obviously, you know, like I said, you know, you just have to know your application. You have to know what you're using it for, and realize that there may be some drawbacks. Another drawback with this thing is banks. You know, you run out of just the ability to get snow up and over your plowing. So things where sometimes at the end of these driveways or corner walks, as the winter progresses, we might come in with the plow truck that obviously has a plow that lifts a lot higher and push those banks back, so we have more room to keep banking stuff with the Snowrator. But all right, everybody, I have one last update. I realized I already did an outro. I don't know exactly how this will look post editing, but I filmed an outro. Thought I was gonna record this video. The last time I had this thing out was actually when I recorded the video, which was January 8th. Yesterday, I believe, was January 14th, and I went to start. No, January 13th. I went to start the machine up, the Scout up, and she would not start. 14th, also wouldn't really start. So, took it to the mechanic. They did some messing around with it, and got. I think this is a fluke problem, but I need to, you know, actually talk about it because it did happen to me. Is it again didn't start. They took and cleaned a bunch of stuff up, cleaned up the spark plug, cleaned up the carburetor, drained out some of the gas, whatever, and it now runs just fine. So I don't really know what the problem was. Another thing that I did experience that they told me was wrong with was, I don't know what you can see this on camera. So this cable here is the throttle cable for the actual operator platform. Throttle cable. It comes down and hooks up into here, onto the actual throttle cable that's built onto the engine, because this Kohler engine can be used on a ton of different machines. And so this cable here was all bent up. Mechanic told me, and he even recommended, he was like, you might want to even just disconnect it and just only use the throttle lever on the engine instead of messing with the one on the operator station, just because of how kind of finicky or dinky it might be. So that'll be something where I have to keep an eye on. I did also want to point out one thing that I'm in the middle of doing it now, that I don't know, I didn't look at, I should have been keeping better eyes on, is on this thing, especially on this side, you can tell there's no cutting edge left. On this side, there's also basically no cutting edge left. So 50 hours in, we are flipping the cutting edge. So just keep that in mind as well in your maintenance and such. That 50 hours in, about every 50 hours, maybe you got to do a cutting edge flip or a replacement. Also have an oil change I have to do, but I just haven't done that yet. That's on me, my break-in oil change. But she definitely needs a break-in oil change probably, because I think it's over what they recommended. So, but anyways, that's what I have to report on. That's going to be the actual conclusion of this video, unless something problematic happens before. Sorry, my shoe came undone. Unless something problematic happens before I get done editing this video. But as of right now, that's all I have to report. 50 hours in, and I definitely will come back to you guys another 50 at the end of the winter, whatever, however many hours are on the machine. Come, you know, the middle of April when the snow is done, I will come back and report and let you guys know how it is. Fisher Ben here once again. Just wanted to say that this plate to fill the hydraulic fluid is difficult to get off. I just did that, just filled this up with some more hydraulic fluid. This thing has a nut on the bottom that, or it's very difficult to fix or to take off to get a funnel in there. If you have like a flexi spout, you might be able to get in there, but I just took this off, stuck a funnel in there, filled it, it was fine, but this was just really difficult to get off, so thought I'd mention that. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of a walkthrough. Feel free to ask me any questions or comments down below. I'll be happy to answer them for you. But yeah, overall, like I said, very happy with this machine. Would definitely buy again. And yeah, you know, it's an experiment. We're learning, but overall, I'm happy with it. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.